friends that would come and help out with our other 2 children, our other dogs. We have 3 dogs, and people would mow my lawn, bring us dinner over at the hospital, all those sorts of things. And even though Florida's attractive and nice, we wanted to instill in our children Michigan values. And so we decided to stay after Blaze got better, and he's doing very well now. But the tipping point for me was August, when our current congressman wasn't having any open town hall meetings when they were discussing the health care bill. And I thought that that was very contemptuous of us, his constituents. You have a duty to listen to your constituents and for the most part, do what they tell you they want done. And right now in this country, we have a crisis the crisis of consent, where you have a country dedicated and founded upon the principle, we the people. And yet you have people that are in government that think the government rules over the people. It's the other way around. And you need to listen to the people, and Congressman Shower not having those open town hall meetings, even though he knew he was going to get yelled at, guess what? Sometimes you have to stand and receive your constituents venting at you. And I thought that that was arrogant, just like the arrogance we see from our current president and the current one-party rule that's going on down in D.C. right now. So that was the tipping point for me wanting to get involved, because my wife said at the end of the day, if you have nationalized health care, who's to say, but you could be presented with the specter of a family like ours given 2 choices. When they have this 20-week ultrasound, your son has congenital heart defect. You can either kill your son or you can have hospice care, because we don't do the other thing anymore. We don't have the doctors to do it, and we don't have the funds to do it. So that was very scary for me as a parent, knowing that people all over the state, all over the country, all over the world come to Michigan because we have the best specialized health care in the world here. And I was very fearful that we'd lose it, because what we're doing with healthcare right now is turning the insurance agencies into agents of the state, like utilities. And once the government gets involved in something, all bets are off. I was involved in the government in the Marine Corps, and we do some things real well in the government. Fight wars, raise military. We do some things that aren't very good either. And healthcare, I would say, is one of them. People sometimes ask me about the military and healthcare. Well, yeah, you do a good job in the military with healthcare because your population is 17 to 35, 45 years old. That population generally doesn't get too sick unless it's catastrophic care, and we do a good job with that too. But they don't do well with knee replacements, hip replacements, getting old. And that's where the costs are, on the senior side of the house and the neonatal side of the house. And if you're going to ration care, if you're going to cut costs, that's where you're going to cut. And that's what I'm very fearful, that this sausage that the Democrats have made down in D.C. is not going to turn out the way that they think it's going to turn out. Just the same way that they sold, some of these other social entitlement programs haven't turned out the way that they would hope or wish that they would turn out. As far as my stances on the Second Amendment, I see a lot of politicians a lot of times say, well, I'm a hunter, so I'm Second Amendment guy, so vote for me. Yeah, I've hunted, basically my whole life, but the Second Amendment is more than just hunting. It's personal security as well. And I know that when I went to Iraq, one of the first things I did before I went was buy my wife a handgun, because we didn't live in the best part of San Diego. A lot of people think, oh, San Diego's all good, but there are some bad parts of San Diego, and I lived in one of those bad parts. And I can remember the police helicopter flying overhead right before I left to Iraq, and spotlight coming down in our alleyway. We had a real small house. In the alleyway, the cops were saying, don't leave your home, shut your doors. And I was like, great, I'm leaving my wife in this situation. But trained her in her pistol and how to use it, and she wasn't afraid. And nobody ever came to our door, but if they did, they would be surprised, I know that. Anyway, so I am a handgun owner, and I believe that the Second Amendment is a fundamental right, just like the other Bill of Rights that we have. And I can tell you, when I lived in Florida, I helped out in the Hurricane Andrew relief effort. And that taught me a big lesson at a young age, because Hurricane Andrew destroyed a lot of parts of South Florida. And the homes that weren't looted and the businesses that weren't looted were usually because there was a guy or gal sitting outside of it with a shotgun or handgun saying, you will be shot if you loot this place. Civil society does break down sometimes. We saw it break down in Katrina, we saw it break down with Hurricane Andrew. And when it comes down to it, you only have yourself sometimes.